There once was a little bear cub. It awoke in the spring, alone, on a bed of soft wood and moss, the smell of the earth wafting into its nostrils. Too young yet to walk, it was barely the size of a newborn pup. Not knowing who its mother was, but answering the call of hunger, the baby bear fed on grass and roots and beetles in its den, some nuts left behind by a forgetful squirrel. With its eyes half open or half closed, it warmed its belly. Somewhere, a mother bear walked, the two of her 6 nipples closest to her pelvis, shutting off their milk. Soon, all were to shut down, like the blinking off of streetlights, down the lane as morning comes. The baby bear in its den inched closer to the hole where the brightness came from. Soon, standing on its hind paws and then clumsily falling back on its bum. As it fell, it tumbled into a hole. But it wasn't its den. It was a galaxy of stars. As the baby bear fell, the stars became a puddle.
"Hey, wake up there, little one. What are you doing?"
A voice called. But the little bear couldn't hear it. The stars were sticking to his paws, and he was confused. No matter what he did to shake them off, their bright lights kept sticking to him. Finally, he awoke in a field, not knowing how he got there. He was bigger now, a year old. The scent of fresh, wild blueberries was wafting all around him. He heard the birds calling. The fields were full, and he could fill his belly. But something was wrong. He felt something very small under his paw. And there was a tiny crushed mouse, its bones poking into him, its eyes bulging a little.
"What are you doing, little one? What are you doing?"
But the little bear couldn't hear him. Somewhere along Highway 1, a man stepped out of his car. He checked to see if his wife and children were okay. His baby girl in her car seat, strapped in, his wife crying, and his son's eyes wide, silent, not saying anything. In front of their car lay a mother bear on the highway. The boy watched her take her last breath. This time, the little bear awoke again in the forest, near his den. He had been sick for quite some time, a feeling in his stomach. He couldn't keep down his food, pimples cropping up on his face. He didn't know why. He was drawn by some scents, unfamiliar to him. Notes in the air, not sweet like berries, a little like the bugs in the earth, but not quite. As he crunched through the forest, he was big now, his body strong. He heard something in front of him. He locked eyes with a creature. She was small, but tall. She had no fur on her thin limbs, only long, straight fur on the top of her head, drooping down over her ears, and she was beautiful. A voice said to Little Bear,
"Little bear, if you want this, it is yours."
And he heard. Little Bear and the girl experienced love. It was full-bodied. It tingled their hearts like nothing they had ever felt. The girl felt safe with the bear, and the bear felt that he had never met someone who could listen so well. He loved looking into her big, beautiful eyes, and she loved his strong, hairy chest, broad shoulders, and big arms. But soon, Little Bear began to pick fights with the girl. He didn't know why. His paws would itch and he would want to swat at her, but not at her, because he loved her, but at something. He would disappear inside himself for long bouts of time, turning away from the warmth of their love. "Stay, don't go," he'd say, after he pushed her away. Their fights got worse. They both wanted to forget about the nights he'd growl at her so loud. She knew he loved her, and he knew he was loved. But this was their first love. Wasn't there something more to be discovered in this world? So, by mutual agreement, the girl walked away, out of the forest, never to be seen again, except in Little Bear's dreams.
All the love we have ever felt is not lost. You can call on it any time. I am here within you. Little Bear, what are you doing?
But Little Bear didn't know. Little Bear's middle years are a time he doesn't wish to talk about. They were filled with berry juice and loud music, and some dallying that was really fun at the time, but kind of made him feel empty. Should I call her? No. Some years had passed, and friends sometimes asked about her, but she was probably engaged to someone else anyway. Little Bear had moved to the city. He lived in a living room in a 2-bedroom apartment on Granville Street with some flatmates. He got a job as an artist, working from contract to contract. He had some minor successes, creating public art. But after a while, his whole career started to feel meaningless. He thought, maybe I should move to the suburbs. Little Bear took a trip with some friends. He thought he should see the world, so he went with his very best friends to Southeast Asia. The temperature was hot, and there were lots of people doing crazy things. The heat was good for his skin. His fur was sweaty, but he was happy and he didn't care. He drove along the countryside on the back of his friend's scooter, and he slept in the mountains, in the rice paddies. Whole families slept in one house. They invited him in. It reminded him of something, but he didn't know what.
Little Bear, wake up. You are sleeping.
One day on the trip, Little Bear and his best friend decided to go canyoning. They went to a river in the jungle, and with helmets on, were told to jump off cliffs. Little Bear was scared. This forest was a lot like the forest where he grew up, but he had never been asked to jump off cliffs there. He and his friend were guided by someone, a really friendly guide. He reminded Little Bear of someone. He had a really soft voice, and his body was kind of flowy. He was sweet. Little Bear found himself at the edge of a cliff, unable to move forward. He looked to the guide for help. In an unlikely moment, the guide turned to him and said,
Strong, your mind. Run. Never stop.
Little Bear jumped. Stars, 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 sticking to his paws. A little mouse, and somewhere, his mother? Many years would pass, with Little Bear making public art, then moving to the suburbs, then complaining of ailments, neck and stomach pain, loneliness, the sound of cars so loud in his ears, pimples again, when one day he went back to his den. By some unfortuitous plague, he was forced back to his home. He felt the soft, padded moss beneath his feet, the scent of beetles, grass, berries, sunshine on his face, the smell of sun carrying the scent of pine and cedar trees through the hot wind. He thought of the girl for the first time in a long time, remembering what it felt like to have someone listen, the full-bodied love from paws to toes. Strong your mind? Run, never stop. But Little Bear did stop. He stopped to smell the breeze, to feel his heart breaking, and to smell his dreams. The pain cracked him, but he was stronger now. He let it. He washed in the river, and he sacrificed something of himself. It was gone forever, but he had to let it crack him every day. The smell of summer baked memories into him from the inside out. Don't bathe in the stars. You have to let them be untouchable. He thought of the girl's eyes, his mother's breath, and began to build a house inside himself. With nourishment, let it crack you, and know that I am within you always, and I am you